What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know I get it in, right? And in menudo style in direct fashion, what I want you to do is hit that like and subscribe button, put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I'm kicking. And let's talk about situations, right? So I've always wondered to myself, and this is a question I ask myself, why is Hollywood so infatuated with the prison lifestyle? Why are people so infatuated, with the prison lifestyle? I see a lot of these channels that really aren't prison genre based channels. A lot of them fucking are guys that play, what's that game? Roblox. And a lot of them are guys that play, those old school motherfuckers that play Dungeons and Dragons, right? Yet they always have these things on their channels where they go spend the night for 24 hours in a jail cell, or what would it be like to be in a prison? Well, there's always one way to find out. Okay. And I don't encourage people to go find out, because I'm here to tell you, first and foremost, having done a lot of prison time, it's not everything that you believe it is. We watch these shows, like Scared Straight, and they get these guys that are not in the best of standings, that are not really putting in that work. Maybe in the past they have. Maybe in the past they were dangerous individuals, but they've kind of changed their lives. See, in order for you to be that person doing that Scared Straight program, that person that's actually scaring these kids, maybe in the past, some of these guys were hardened and some of these guys were really about that shit, but they're not going to put, any children, any minors in close proximity of someone that's really going to hurt them. Now, I know everybody's capable of doing anything, but most of these guys that are doing these Scared Straight programs have changed their life. They've given their life to God. They've now become Christians, and a lot of them are doing these programs just because it's extra time off their sentence. So they're going to take it easy. They're going to go light on these children. So what you're seeing on Hollywood in this production that they're putting on is not the truth. It's not actual facts. Okay, I will tell you a story right now about actual facts. Okay, so my brother was doing time in the county jail. And one thing about the block, our county jail, was you were not to be seen on camera. You were not to participate in any of the bullshit that they had going on. So they actually had these college students. They were not minors. They were adults, but they were intrigued. I guess a lot of them were going to be COs. A lot of them wanted to go into law enforcement. So they wanted a hands-on experience, and they got that, right? They wanted to experience just how it was to see people incarcerated. There's a big infatuation with a lot of people that don't necessarily want to do crime and don't necessarily want to sit there and grab that sack lunch in the morning and bust down them burpees and deal with the boredom and being incarcerated, but they're intrigued by what people go through. Look, it's only normal as a human to be not intrigued, but to wonder about some of the things that not necessarily you want to go through, but what other people go through. And that's cool. That's fine, man. You always seek knowledge. Always seek knowledge. You always can't get in college, but at the same time, don't ridicule or hate on the next man because of the situation he finds himself in. Because a lot of these guys that are incarcerated are in these situations because of where they grew up. Bad choices they make, maybe the way they were taught, maybe some things that they went through when they were young. Not everybody has a criminal mentality, but sometimes people just get busted and caught. I got a lot of homeboys that have been doing the thuggish, ruggish shit since day one and have never been caught. And they used to look down upon, hey, homie, you just got out again, fool? I got the new whip, whoop-de-whoop. Yeah, because you ain't been busted yet, puto. And ain't no one told on you. But one day, You're going to be over there like, okay, right? And then you're going to have to figure out the situation. Anyways, back to the story. So my brother and them are doing their time as being active Norteños at that time. They couldn't participate in whatever the Scared Straight program had going on. So basically, these guys were just going to walk through the tier, walk on the block. And the makeup of this block is it's a long corridor, not very long, but it's a corridor. There's cells, and they're 8-man cells, and there's, I think, 4 to 5 cells on this block. And they were kind of going to just look in. They were looking into the zoo, right? They wanted to see what was going on in there, how these guys function and program. And of course, these guys were addressed and told to, not really just do their own thing, do their own program, not pay attention to what was going on. Well, these guys from the college had decided that if for no other reason, they were going to talk their shit. They figured because these guys were on the other side of the bars, they could talk shit. So prior to lunchtime, they had come in the morning and did a walkthrough. And I guess one of them was mean mugging and kind of smiling and smirking like he was that one, because he felt that these guys were criminals. They couldn't get to him. They're locked up. So instead of embracing the fact that he's even there and seeing some of the hardships they go through in the struggle, he wanted to make fun of them. He wanted to clown them. Well, you can't do that because you never know when it's going to be your day to get clowned back on, right? So my brother and another homeboy were actually porters. Okay, anyone who knows what a porter is, or a tier tender, you know, someone who actually gets to come outside of their cell and tend to the needs of the tier, meaning they clean the tier, they hand out meals for the officers, they usually hand out books. In our county jail, they would go down with the books, basically your library, and then the meals would come to the end of the block. They would be the ones handing out meals. And it's always cool to be a tier tender if you get put in that position, whether it be in prison or county jail, because you get extras, right? You get to be out of your cell. You get your mind off the bullshit. You get to fraternize, pass messages to the homeboys, but also you get an extra meal, or, you know, it's always an incentive to be the fuck up out your cell, especially if you're locked up. Nobody wants to be stuck on the block in the cell all day. So anyways, my brother and his homeboy were actually tier tenders, doing what they had to do, maintaining the integrity and the business of the block for the homies, you know, and that's just what it is. On this particular block, there was no Sureños, there was no blacks, there was no whites. And if there was, they were actually northerners, right? The blacks and whites. So these guys had went to lunch. I guess this guy was mean mugging from the college. This little not scared straight program, but again, it was the fucking just look at the monkeys through the zoo program, right? And, you know, the homies got at each other and they were like, hey, if these guys come back, which it was planned that they were supposed to come back after lunch, do a walkthrough once again. And they were going to other blocks, but this being the active Norteño block, they kind of wanted to see how the gangs functioned and whatever, you know, to prepare them for their jobs. So the homies had got at, you know, my peoples and was like, hey, look, if these fools come, you already know what time it is. So I'm saying, ain't no one going to disrespect us. Handle your business. So these guys come through with a couple officers. And of course, man, they tell my brother and the homie, you know, because they're tier tenders, they're trusted a little bit more than others. You know, they're given the benefit of the doubt. Tell them, go out the end of the tier. These guys were going to walk to a certain point. But this guy that was talking shit, he didn't realize that my brother and them were out and that they were about that business, right? He figured, you know, he could steal mean mug, shoot shoulder shrugs, shoot darts and slugs, right, at people while they're locked up. And you never do that to a person that's locked up. You never make fun of the fact that they're incarcerated. You never do that because bad things can happen. Well, it did. Okay. As soon as this guy got to about the middle of the tier, bam, it kicked off. He got rushed, right? He got beat up with the mop. Of course, shit happens. You know, they slammed my brother. He was never to get a tier tender job again, at least not in that county jail. And that was that. And that goes to show that people that think everything's make-believe and you could belittle people because of the situation they find themselves in, well, they got a big fucking wide awakening for you, huh? There it is right there, Holmes. They hubble bubble gummed your ass. And that was it. And he had bubble gummed out, I don't want to play like this no more, right? And he was gone. He got beat up on. So it's always... I've always questioned the fact of why Hollywood, why a lot of YouTubers, why a lot of people that haven't been incarcerated in certain places like to, you know, put a spotlight on it, like to celebrate the fact of prison. There's nothing about prison, gang life, street life, ghetto, barrio hoods that anyone really cares for other than the fact that that's what we're born into, if we're born into that, or that's what we choose to do. If you talk to most veteranos, most OGs that come from the hoods and the barrios, man, they'll tell you themselves, man, there's more to it than what you just think. You know, when you're constantly trying to play this role, this gangster role, you know, there's a lot of wannabes, a lot of wanksters, people that are trying, they think it looks cool. There's nothing cool about it. There's nothing cool about growing up with abusive parents or growing up with parents that aren't there because they're incarcerated. There's nothing cool about growing up with no food in the house. There's nothing cool about, you know, rats and roaches and shiesty approaches. And when I say roaches, I mean real ones in real life. There's nothing cool about, you know, waking up in the morning and it's the same old damn thing. And your whole life is a fucking pattern of the same old damn thing because you woke up in the morning, there was no food, you couldn't go out and play, there was nothing to do, it was the same damn thing. And then you grow up and you get in the mix and now you're incarcerated and guess what? Repeat, it's the same damn thing. But there's a lot of people that always... You know, I question the fact of why they do it. You know, there's one big YouTuber, man. He's not in the prison genre. He's actually, you know, got quite an extensive bank account, right? Makes a lot of money off this YouTube shit. And he kind of did his thing, you know, got kind of in, I guess he does a little bit of everything and buys cars for people and buys stores out. And everybody knows who he is, man. you know, I have no hatred in my heart or envy towards this guy. You know, in fact, I'm a subscriber and I watch his channel. You know, he did it the hard way. But I've seen a couple of occasions where I'm going to go build a prison, a fake prison, and lock myself up for 24 hours. Watch me, see what I do. And he sits there and he's all miserable for 24 hours and people are all intrigued. Wow, that's what it's all about? That is not what it's fucking all about. Let me tell you what prison's all about. It's about misery, hopelessness, desolation, destructive of the mind. They're trying to desensitize you to a lot of fucking bullshit. And you go in there and depending upon who you are, who you're affiliated with, because in California, you will get affiliated with somebody. It's just the way it goes down, right? You're going to come to find out that it's not fun. It's not just sitting there by yourself. Oh, there's a lot of sitting there, Holmes, but there's also a lot of activity. There's also a lot of movement. There's also a lot of shit going on. And if you're not aware and pay attention to what's going on around you, then you're going to come up short. So let me give you a typical day of what prison really is or jail really is. First of all, if you get booked into the county jail, they're not going to PC you up and place you by yourself unless you got status, unless you're fucking a verified real G, Holmes. If you're validated as a gang member, as someone who's really about that smoke and has been in and out of the incarceration and the cops know who you are, because best believe they know who the fuck is who, right? What they're going to do, gente, is they're going to put you in a cell with a lot of drunk people, people that are coming down off drugs, people that are still partaking in dope that they brought in their asshole. There's going to be a lot of different shit going on in this cell. And everyone is going to be struggling for them couple rolls of toilet paper so they can use as a pillow. So it stinks in there. It smells in there. You're trying to talk on the phone to your peoples to let them know to bail me out, right? Or to get you the fuck on down the road, or let them know exactly where you're at and what happened. Because most people that get incarcerated, it just happens like that, you know? And so they're locked up and you want to let your old lady know, hey, yeah, I guess you can go fuck Melvin, right? And all this shit. And what happens in the meantime, in between time? You're smelling the stench. People are urinating right by your head. There's a lot going on. These holding cells are hot most of the time. You know, from people's hot ass breath. You got people in there, their feet fucking stink. They got athlete's feet. These high profile gangsters and people that everyone thinks are cool got some fucking patas de puerco. They stink like caca, right? So now you're in this cell. And after sitting for several hours in a holding cell and listening to the one white guy pacing back and forth talking about, you think they're really going to send me to prison? I only got caught with 3 zips of meth, right? Now, you know, you're going to get placed. You're going to have to actually go up, you know, and talk to whoever's booking you in. You got to go through the booking process and they're going to kind of try to figure out where they're going to house you. And depending upon the availability of housing, you know, if you're an active gang member, sometimes there's no room. Sometimes you're going to have to go back in that holding cell until they can get you to the right area. Now, the bigger the city, the more time you're going to wait because there's a lot more people being processed. This is facts for those of you that watch these shows where they're trying to play jail and play prison, man. I'm going to show you exactly and tell you exactly how it really is. So now after 6-7 hours and you're finally housed, you're tired than a motherfucker. You've been eating sack lunches, peanut butter and jelly, bologna sandwiches, sometimes a little fucking thing that they call cat food. And you're so hungry, you're going to smack it, right? And now your stomach, you got the bubble guts. First thing you need to do when you get in the cell is take a shit because you've been sitting in there. Most people that really know what time it is ain't trying to sit on the toilet unless it's an emergency around a whole bunch of grown men talking to you like, hey, bro, do you think the fuck bail bonds, are they open on Sundays, right? While you're trying to take a shit, there's no privacy. None of that, man. It ain't a single cell, like I said, unless you're PC'd up or you're doing some weird shit. Are they going to place you in that? Or unless you have a very weird charge, then they might slither you out towards your own cell. But for the most part, if you're general population, they're going to sit your ass down right there. You're going to be over there having the bubble guts in front of a whole bunch of vatos that ain't even tripping. They're coming down off black and shit. They're like, smells like shit, smells like shit. You know what I mean? That's all they say when they... So anyways, they finally get you into the cell and now you're tired. You haven't slept right. You got the bubble guts. And now you don't have time to do all that shit because you have a cellie or you're put on a block or you're put in a situation where everybody, they're cool. They've been worked out. They've been took a shower. They done ate good. So now they're all looking at you like, hey, who the fuck is this vato, eh? You know what I mean? Depending upon if you're an active gang member, you participate. So now while you're just like, where's the toilet? Where's the toilet? While you're trying to do all that, hey, Sasuke Helms, you got to figure out now which toilet you could exactly sit on. You know, you can't just come in a cell disrespecting a vato who's been there. That's his pad, homie. You're just coming in. So now you have to go through the fucking politics and all the different things that happen. And yes, they do happen in county jail as well, especially if you're Mexican. You already know how that goes, or brother, man, Woods too. Everybody's going to participate. So now you go through the bullshit. So your bubble guts, hold it. Just like your mom used to tell you when you were in Kmart in aisle 9. You know what I mean? Mom, I need to take a shit. I have to go. We have to go, right? And she says, mijo, I'm sorry. I got to get Kotex and toilet paper. You weren't saying that when you were looking at the He-Mans in aisle 9. Hold it. Same thing in prison and jail. Hold it, right? So now after you go through the bullshit of everybody looking at you and figuring out who the fuck you are, now if you're embraced and it's all good within the household homes, now you can take your shit. Go ahead, handle it, eh? But don't sit on that toilet. You know what I mean? That's the one we piss on. That's a pisser. You can't sit on that toilet. You can't sit on that toilet. You can't sit on that toilet. These are some of the things, the true life things you're going to go through in jail, right? So from there, man, you get with the program and now your life is filled with nothing but boredom. Now you're waiting. Now it's all about going to court and programming and functioning depending upon, you know, who you fuck with. And I'm not going to get into all that because everybody is different. So I can't give you, I'm not Wes Watson where I'm going to tell you, this is the way it is. You're now a gang member. You're going to do, nah, fuck all that, homes. Depending upon who you function with and who you roll with, it's different for everybody. It's the same, but it's different. Read between those lines. Now, for Hollywood, you know, they put these movies out there like American Me and Blood In, Blood Out. And I notice that they always try to downplay the contribution of the minorities, which are considered the black and brown. To me, they're not minorities because in the Southwestern states we're the majorities. But they try to make us look bad. You ever notice that? I'm not a racial person. I fuck with everyone. That's right off the top, man. I got white homeboys, black homeboys, Mexican homeboys, Uso homeboys, Asian homeboys, man. I got homeboys that probably are not my homeboys, but they say they are, right? I got a lot of friends. So I've never been that type of person. I grew up around everybody. I've always fucked with everyone. I've always done business and associated with everyone. I was a true believer in what I believed in, which was the Northern Raza, first and foremost, period, primera. But at the same time, homes, I didn't hate a person because they weren't what I was. I knew who the opposition was. I knew who the opponent was. And I was willing to go that route if I needed to go to handle my business. But other than that, I didn't hate the vato. I didn't know him personally. I'm a type of person, man. I judge a person by the content of his character and by his ways and wiggle, not by the fucking what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm supposed to do as a grown man, homes. I'm supposed to do me. I'm supposed to be real to myself and my morals and values. And that's it. Period. So anyways, I wonder why Hollywood likes to belittle, you know, like when it comes to the northern Mexicanos, you know, the raza. We never get a fair shake. We're called farmers and disrespected. And I notice, man, they make norteños look bad. Now, of course, because the Southerners, the Southern Hispanics, man, sureños, whatever you want to call them, the Southsiders, you know, the raza from down south, because they are a deeper entity and because they are more well-known, of course, they're going to get looked at a certain way compared to the norteños. But at the end of the day, everybody does their thing. There's a lot of stories to tell about the ways these guys wiggle, all of them. Now, when it comes to the whites, you notice a lot of these movies, they always have the main character as a white dude. That's Hollywood. And has nothing to do with, you know, Hollywood being racist. You could figure that out for yourself. It more so has to do with Hollywood being scared because of things that have happened when it comes to telling stories about Mexicanos. Shit, they know, man, everything when it comes Mexican is based off of prison. So they get scared about that. And who wouldn't be? That's understandable. You know, but Hollywood is very intrigued. They're very intrigued with the prison life. They're very intrigued with telling the story about prison, but they got the game fucked up. See, I honestly believe if you're going to tell a story, tell it righteously and real. Tell it the way it is, man. You know, don't bullshit the people into believing, jail's not that bad, or scaring the people into believing, oh shit, they're going to stab me every time I come out. It doesn't work that way. The way it works is each man will conduct himself properly and professionally. And if you choose to get involved in extracurricular activities and bullshit, well, you're going to get extracurricular shit happening to you. That's how it is. You know, and for all these youngsters that like watching the prison genre or like watching these movies or these people that are playing the role for 24 hours in a jail cell, right? Let me tell you something, man. 9 times out of 10, you're getting bullshitted. It's all propaganda. You're getting force-fed some drama and some bullshit. Let me tell you what jail really entails. Nothing. A whole lot of nothing. There's not a person that's stuck in a cell, well, maybe 1 or 2, and they're crazy, right? There's not a person stuck right now that wouldn't love to trade spots with you. and wouldn't want to see jail for the rest of their lives. I guess you have to be there and have to experience it and go through it to understand. And you'll never be able to experience and understand by listening to my stories or other people's stories or what we tell you, because we could bullshit the shit out of you, man. You can't bullshit a bullshitter unless you're the bullshitter that knows how to bullshit. Read between them lines. That's just how it is. You know, that's why I listen to like Wes Watson's stories and I laugh. I truly laugh. And it's not because I hate that guy or because I'm trying to knock his hustle, but I see it. I see it, man. I hear the bullshit. Like, what you were not there. Stop it. That's bullshit, bro. You're lying. You're lying. It works, though. It works for you. You wear that well. But it's bullshit. Anyways, man, I've just always asked that question. I want to ask you that question. Why is Hollywood so entrenched and so intrigued, and people in general, with what's going on in prison and what's going on in jail, man? If you want to find out, I say, find out. With that being said, something I just wanted to talk about today. I hope you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all. I'm going to shut the door because my other phone is ringing and it's blowing up. And it's probably a torta. And she wants to get her fucking twerk on. And ¿sabes qué? I just might have to do that. You already know what it is. This is the gun. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. Bang, bang, man. Thank you for tapping into the collective clips, where on this channel, I pretty much just say what the fuck is on my mind. That's where it's come to now. I just speak the real. Bang, bang.